All right, let's go ahead and dive in. Again, Gen 5 19 MOS. Now, this video is going to be a little bit different than what you guys are used to with me, and partly because it's a Glock 19. We've spent so much time talking about Glock 19s. There are a million videos out there, so I'm not going to bore you with the specs and even a lot of the features here, because of a lot of the features in the Gen 5 were carried forward to this. However, I wanted to highlight some of the changes that you guys specifically mentioned were really meaningful. So this is a bone stock Glock 19 MOS, with the exception of one thing I did want to point out. I do have some Trigicon HD XRs on here. I'm a huge fan of these sights. Now, as you can see, because the dovetail is pushed back for the red dot plate, it does kind of hang off the back a little bit. So these might end up being a placeholder for something else, maybe some suppressor sights. I haven't decided that yet, but I wanted to be able to run this gun with some sights that I'm comfortable with. So that's the only change. Otherwise, it is totally stock for now. That will also change very soon. I'm going to be having a little bit of fun with this, but again, it's a Glock 19 as you would expect. Now, I'm going to bring out the Gen 5 19. I'm going to throw the magazine back in it, but it is empty, of course. Now, here we've got our Gen 5 19, and there were a couple of things about this at the release that people sort of poo-pawed. They weren't very excited about. Most notably, I think, is probably this little cutout right here at the bottom of the forward grip, or front of the grip, however, whatever you want to say. And this was really designed to strip magazines if you have a problem, because you'll notice that that the magwell itself is actually flared, and which I like, by the way. I'm a big fan of the flared magwell, but I, like a lot of people, were a little bit confused and a little bit off-put by this little half moon cutout, because depending on the size of your hands, and I've got average large hands, you can definitely feel that cutout when you're shooting. Now, it doesn't hurt, it's not painful or anything like that. It's more just annoying than anything else. And I really thought that was a bit of a miss by Glock, and I think a lot of other people did as well. So with the 19 MOS, thankfully they got rid of it. So that's very exciting. In fact, they kept the flared magwell. We'll get rid of this magazine as well, so you'll be able to see that we do have our flared magwell, and they just flared it all the way around. I like this, guys. I gotta tell you, I think this is what it needed. It's very comfortable. I mean, it doesn't have the finger grooves, of course, like the Gen 5, which I also have gotten to really appreciate, but that closing that little loop, which seems so insignificant, actually to me makes a really big deal. Now, the other thing about the Gen 5 MOS, they actually carried forward, and I shouldn't have put this away just yet, they carried forward the Gen 5 magazine. Now, we're going to nerd out for a second like we did on the 45 video. On the left, the Gen 5 magazine base plate, you'll notice, is a little bit longer than Gen 4, Gen 3, 2, 1 base plates here on the right. Now, I'm not a fan of the longer base plate. Every once in a while, especially with the regular 19, when you would slam a magazine in, you could actually kind of pinch your finger a little bit, and it could get a little bit annoying. So I get rid of these. I get rid of the base plates, and I go with the older style. That's just kind of a preference of mine. Not really a big deal at all, but just something that I do.